So here's what you want to look at. Wait. All right. So we're taking a look at something called vectors, right? Math physics people, you all might know it. Math people, you all should know it, right? But it's here. So whenever I give you a point, right? What you will normally do is read the x and the y and plot where the point is, right? So if I give you the point x, y, that's how you'll plot it. Here is x, here is y. That's okay? Now, how do I turn this into a vector? A vector is something that has a magnitude and it has some direction, right? So how do I give this point magnitude and direction, right? What you do is just draw the point back to something called the origin. And we create something called a what? Something called a position vector. Right? And the position vector is from O to P. So now we're giving it direction. We call it OP. We draw a little line on top or arrow, anyone can do it. And that shows you as a vector. Right? In the direction O to P. All right? So the direction is O to P and the length of this line is the magnitude. Okay? So how do I find the length of OP? The length of OP is written like this and is the square root of x squared plus y squared. Right? How do I write the vector? You write like a column matrix. So instead of writing it horizontally, you write it vertically. Are you okay with that? So that's the intro into vectors. Right? You must draw the point back to some vector, most of the times O, right? If you draw it back to O, it's called the position vector. Everybody okay with that? Right? Remember, direction, very important. The direction is from O to P. All right? And you write it like a column matrix. If I ask you to find the length of the line is the square root of x squared plus y squared. All right, make a note of that. And I want to add something up, all right?
Oh, it's yeah, I just pushed it. Oh.
Yes.
My name is yeah. I'm saying sushi. I'm not fine. I take waves and I was Yeah, I'll bring up the. I was such a. I know. But you have to take. Where did all we get to this? All we get to this. Hold on, bro. Should I write up? What I was. I think that's okay. I think I had it. Oh, I really got it. Yeah, I was on it. Okay, I'll say that. I'll send it. I said, yeah, you'll feel it from contract. I'm comfortable if I'm Monday. Monday.
Alright.
Yeah.
So watch this here now. What would happen if instead of going O to P, we decide to go, no dots, we decide to go P to O? What would happen? Change direction, right? So instead of going up, you're going down. How you just deal with that change in direction in physics? Yeah. How you just show a change in direction? Change the sign, right? Change the sign. So what you do is put a minus sign in front here. So it will now become minus x minus y. All right? So let's make a note of that. I want to write that down because some people forget quickly. Right, write it down. To show a change in direction, in a vector, to show a change in direction in a vector. To show a change in direction in a vector, we change the sign of the x and y values. We change the sign of the x and y value. Change the sign of the x and y value. All right, online. So that's why I said remember that, right? So let's start with a small example. Right? If we have something like this, if we have P is minus 3, 2, let's see if we can find a few things. Let's see if we can find the position vector, OP. Let's see if we could find the magnitude of OP. And let's see if we could find PO. Right? So let's see if this makes sense, right? Let's pick on Jamal. Sorry about Jamal. Right, could you help me out here? Highest right position vector. Point is minus 3, 2.
So the x value will you put in brackets.
Right.
Your x value minus 3 and your y value 2.
Nice. Right. So since I pick on Jamal too much, Pishish. Pishish. Highest find magnitude. You got to find the square root of the x value plus the y value squared. Do it in your head now. How much is that? Square root of 13. Nice. And Ethan, how do I write PO? It'll be positive 3 and very good. So you change the signs, right? So it becomes positive 3 minus 2. Ready? Addition and subtraction. Next heading, addition and subtraction. You're done? Right, so write this down. To add or subtract vectors. To add or subtract, actually, you all tell me what to do now.
Physics students, yeah, physics student. Listen, so
That was always it. Yeah, we did make this a little while ago. So tell me, how do we add something like this? I add here. How would you add two factors? Add the x and add the y, right? Right? So write this down. To add or subtract factors, we simply to add or subtract factors. We simply add or subtract the corresponding x and y values. We simply add or subtract right? We simply add or subtract the corresponding x and y values. All right, so two quick examples here. Two quick examples here. We have to add the x values, 5 plus minus 3, 1 plus 3. Sorry, 1 plus 2. Okay? So, everybody okay with that? Add the x, add the y. That's it. Same thing here. Do this fast now. Try this quick. This is minus 4, right? Right? Minus these two vectors here. What you all got here? 2 minus minus 4 is 1 minus 3 is. All right? So that's the way we add and subtract. All you're doing, add the x, add the y. Right? And it stays a what? It stays a factor. Right? It stays a factor. That's okay? Any questions online? Right? Small note, just make a small note underneath. When we add or subtract vectors, we always obtain a vector. When we add or subtract the vector, we always obtain a vector. When we add or subtract a vector, we always, right? We always obtain a vector. Right? Next one, multiplication. Right? You have two types of multiplication. Multiplication by a scalar. Multiplication of two vectors. Copy that down. I'm going to show you what to do. Right. Ready? So I want to show you how to multiply factors, right? If you have to multiply a factor, right? If you have to multiply a factor by a scalar, that's a singular value on the outside. All you do is you multiply 2 by 3, 2 by 4. That's it. You multiply 2 by each of the values in here. Have you clear it up? Right, but watch here for a minute. Notice you obtain back a what? You obtain back a factor. But something will change here. When you multiply two factors, what you just do is just multiply the x values, multiply the y values, and then add them. Right? So you multiply the x values, multiply the y values, then add them. And you will end up with minus 6 plus 20, which is 14. What is this? Is this a factor? It's no longer a factor. It's just a scalar. Okay? So sometimes we call this scalar. Sometimes we call this scalar or dot product. Okay, so you multiply the x, multiply the y, and then add them. Sorry, everybody okay with us? Right? So just make a note in the scalar product, we multiply the x, multiply the y. In the scalar product, multiply the x values, multiply the y values, and add them. Multiply it. That's the first one. Multiply the x values and the y values and then add them. Multiply both x, both y, and then add them, yes? Then add it like one. Multiply the x, multiply the y, and then add them, right? Right, let's turn this, let's put it all together now before we start the hard stuff. Right, let's see if we can put everything together now. So I gave it two vectors, OA and OB. And I want you to find these three things. Okay, pay attention to the direction. What you say? I gave you OA, but what did I ask for here? AO, right? Try that quickly. That's like, oh. You ready? I hold it. Yeah. Hold it. Ready? Yes. Well, you can do it like that, or you can just leave the minus sign outside. So you can write it like this. And then work out 3 of BU and leave it here, and then minus. So you can forget the 3, forget the minus, just multiply it by 3. Or you can multiply it by minus and then leave a addition sign in. Anyone can do it. You're done? Online message answer only for part 3. Risha and Patish and Justin. Right? Vandana. Yes, the answer for part 3 alone. Okay. Yes. After the multiply, right? That's the plot. After the multiply. Online, press it in. I want to see the last one. Balance. Right, so OA is what? OA is 2, 1. OB minus 5, 2. Right, so add them up. 2 plus minus 5, I got minus 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. Right, nice and easy, right? Now we are at AO. I gave you what? So how do you get AO? Switch the signs, right? How do I get 3BO? Right, so I want to skip a step. I don't want to skip any steps. So I write in the 3 here, and then I write in BO. BO is positive 5 minus 2. Right, when I reach here, you have 2 options. The first option, of course, you leave the minus 2 minus 1. The first option is to ignore the minus sign. Leave it as it is, and multiply the vector by 3. So you'll end up with 15 minus 6 and then minus. Or You could multiply by -3 and then put a plus sign in. Okay? But I'll do it like this, right? I multiply this by 3 and I got this vector here. -2 minus 15 is -17. -1 minus -6 is +5. Right? How about?
I do it wrong. I do it wrong.
I do it wrong. What do you have on the outside here? Minus. So minus to minus. That's right. Or is it added? Was that easy? Which one? Yeah.
Sir, I will need +6.
Was that Satish?
Then I will do +6. We are minus and minus is a plus.
Right. No, but remember, to hear what I did first, right? Ignore this minus sign. I found 3BO. 3BO would be 3 by BO is 5 minus 2. So that's 15 minus 6. Right? So now I took 3BO and I put it back in here. And I'm taking AO and minus in this. So I end up with -2 minus 15, which is -17. Then I end up with -1 minus -6, which is -1 plus 6, which is 5. Pratish, you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
That's how I got the +5 here, right? Right, so in questions like this, try to find the 3BO first. Right? Find the 3BO first, right? And then do the minuses. Okay? Last part, multiply. How do we multiply? We write OA first. Then we write BO. BO would be +5 minus 2. What's the last step? Multiply the x, 2 by 5. Multiply the y, that's -2. And then what? Add them. So you end up with 8. Over number 2. So the first thing I did there was to find I found the 3BO. So I multiplied 3 by BO. And I got 15 minus 1. Right? So BO is changing the sign, right? And I multiplied by 3. And I got this. And then there's a minus in the middle. So I did -2 minus 15 minus 1 minus 6. Okay?
It's just music.
I don't have to go to the job. Wait. Okay. Try this, please. Right? What did I give you here? Did I give you the vector or did I give you the point?
Points.
I gave you the point, right? So you have to write in these 4 things here for me. Right? Good job online. I've seen a few answers. Like 2, 3. I can't believe that one.
Four.
I get to be sharp, Patricia, and Marie. Right? Other people online, stand your part 4 answer, please. Catherine, Alyssa, Ethan, Justin, and all the answers did Curti, Sebastian.
Last signal pa.
Ready? Vishesh? Right? So O to A is what? You write like a column matrix, 2, 5. O to B, 7, 3. So B to O will be -7 -3. What would 4 OA be? 4 by 2, 5. So that'll be 8, 20. And then what's OA by OB? That'll be 2 by 5 by, not this, this is BO, you need OB. So that'll be 7, 3. So that'll be 14 plus 15, which is 20. All right. So that's just a little intro into factors. Yeah, we started. This is don't even come at all.
What?
This don't even come. The real stuff is like the real stuff is like what? I'm gonna show you. Since you're also interested in what will come, right? What did this do, right? What it do sometimes is that they would ask you, they'll give you the same thing. And they will say, well, Gianna, find AB. Any ideas what you could do? Using what they have there? Draw a line from A to B.
Right.
Then what?
Pero you have the direction.
Right. That's close. So you do something like that. What you do, I'll be doing this next week. To find AB, we don't know here. But we know here and here. So you do something called find an alternate path. So you find the alternate path from A to B. So that'll be 8 to, and then go to B. Right? And then you know what, you know how to find this, you know how to find this. Right? That's what we're doing next week. All the past papers is on that. Right? One last thing, equal factors. Yeah. I always do now one night.
Didn't know like the first novel.
Nah. Yeah, nah, I mightn't do one for John. But me, for sure. We have one night. Equal factors, last thing. Last thing. Yes, Jenny. Like normally, yeah. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But go online. So yes. Well, online, you can use the phone and share people. It has hard copies in there yet. It has some. Ready? Two vectors are said to be equal. Two vectors are said to be equal. Two vectors are said to be equal if their x values are equal. If the x values are equal. and their y values are equal. If their x values are equal and their y values are equal. So watch this here. Let's say I said these two vectors are equal, right? Suppose I said vector A is equal to vector B. What does that mean? It means that the x values are equal and the y values are equal. A is equal to C, B is equal to D. That's all. Right? A is equal to C, B is equal to. So if two vectors are equal, you make the x equal and the y. All right, so look at board. So let's say I gave you three vectors. And right, you'll recognize things missing there, right? Look at the vector P. Something missing, right? Look at the vector C, something missing, right? So let's say I gave you these three vectors and I said find A and find B. The only way you can find A and B is if I give you these conditions here, right? I told you that A, B, C, right? I told you that A plus B is equal to C, right? So how do we use this rule that we just learned to work out this? First thing you do, you should write down A, right? A is what? 7, 3. B is what? A5. And C is 2, 2B. If I add up here, I'll get 7 plus A, 3 plus 5 is 8. Is equal to 2B. All okay with that so far? So add up here, add up here. Right? Now, if these two vectors are equal, what do we learn? If two vectors are equal, x values are equal, y values are equal. Are you okay with that? So we end up with what? We end up with what? We end up with 7 plus A. We end up with 7 plus A is equal to 2. So A is how much? 8 minus 5. Right, Michael? And what about here? B is what? B is equal to 8. Any questions? Any questions earlier? Right, so again, I simplify the left-hand side and I got 7 plus 8, 3 plus 5 is 8. And the only way that these two vectors are equal is if the x equal and the y equal. And I get something like this. How can I make this harder? Jamal, how can I make this harder? How I can make it a little harder? We get multiplied, right? Like the one I gave you here. Or I can turn it into a simultaneous equation after. Right? I'll give Nivea that one then. Try part 2 for me. Try part 2. Right? Please simplify the left hand side first, right? Simplify the left and then thousand. No, wait, Olivia. Don't use back the value for A and B, yeah? Don't use back the value. These are two different conditions. Right, sorry. Don't use back. Ignore part one. Part two is a different condition. Alright? We don't know A and B again. Right? A and B was minus 5 and 8 to part one. Ignore part one. Just do part two alone. Sorry. Right? Do over part two and find two new values. Find two new values. Sorry. Like what? So put back in A and B. Yeah. Just by 3. Yeah. Multiply 2 by that. Multiply 3. Good ones. The 2B or 3B. Yeah. C will stay the same. So C will still stay 2B. What would 2A be? 2 by 7 is 2 by 3 is 6. So that's a 2A, right? And then your 3B is what? 3 by A, 3 by 5. Okay? Okay with that? And now one more step and then apply numbers. Wait, final answer. B is 21. Yeah, and then A is what? Now find it. Take my B and then now find it. I did it took to my message. That's true. Right, and such.
Oh,
So add these two,
I think, bro.
add these two. Right? And then make it equal to the right hand side. Right? So 14 plus 3 is 2. 14 plus 3 is 2. And then you can solve for you. Right? And then B is how much? Y'all okay with that? Yeah, Dominic, Palagara, Ethan. You on the phone? Alright. Alright, so today was hopefully nice and easy, right? We'll do the real thing next week. Alright? So next week we're gonna focus on last part of this, right?